Okay, we are live, and I'll be walking you through. I'm working on a couple of aspects, and uh, particularly the emphasis would be the understanding of intellectual property rights, and particularly the open source model, because most folks won't be able to understand how anything and everything works, particularly in Hollywood. And with this movie, Jurassic World Rebirth, I just watched it. I was told to watch the movie because at any given point of time, I'm not a person who looks into these data kind of sets because for me, any kind of content, I don't even consume content. It's just that many times just to look into the data set, it's not that every time AI has to work on it. I myself work on these aspects as and when required. So the conclusion of this movie and the understanding of the movie in terms of intellectual property rights and the trip agreements which have been signed over the years, and I've been very vocal about it, that under the regime of Indira Gandhi ma'am in the past, I mean, the Patent Act was enacted in the year 1970, and it's simple to the people and the folks of that time, that time and again a lot of emphasis has been done, and in different era different things were executed because the UN bodies, which are, it's kind of a family. United Nations is a family where so many things are executed, and the legalities are not understood by normal people. Generally at that point of time, the folks who were active were more in the policy making and stuff. But today, since, I would rather say, since the meltdown of 1999 and when the Trademark Act came into India and was enacted, the mindset was something else. But today, in on the timeline of 2025, which is 16th day of July 2025 IST time zone, um, people like us or the folks who have been selected have to work in all time zones. Like I have to work in IST, PST, and whatnot. So let's get back to the understanding of this Jurassic Park Rebirth, which is basically talking about the survivors were able to escape the island, and Zora decided that making the DNA sample open source will revolutionize the heart disease treatment. Even though this movie is talking about the SDD goals of open source models, but let me tell you, I have gone through the open source models of the pattern applications, particularly these sequences. Now, all these sequences, which is like basically, ATGCs and nothing else, or there's a mutation of some sort, or even the CRISPR technology per se, gene pleasing and everything. I mean, I studied that way back, and CRISPR is, I'm not getting into it, but they had to take back their application in terms of the patenting part also. And right now also we all ourselves going through the process of the patenting the longevity stuff before the USPTO. And let me tell you, um, we will get the patent because it is measuring all these parameters, and I'm a test case result of that longevity in time biotech stuff, which is fully natural. There's no kind of I mean, I'm not doing any gene pleasing in my body, but I'm able to control, see the parameters being worked in a beautiful manner, and it is increasing the longevity. And longevity, the pattern itself talks about in length. And right now we are at the second office action, and the same has to be submitted with the USPTO. So after this video, I'll be working on that particular application. But as for the case result is whatever, these patterns and the NPL stands for non-patent literature, whatever it talks about, human intellect cannot be measured in terms of the patenting part. And that is one good thing about this movie in terms of whether or not you receive a patent at any given point of time. If your product is good, your AI is good, your protocols are good, you will be able to churn that. And particularly, see, intellectual property rights understanding always has been that it has to be for the masses. But over and all, for last so many years, I mean, uh, on a serious note, I've been working on these applications since almost 2006 in terms of patent and the bigger landscape. um, I know exactly how anything works because I have worked in all sectors. There's not one sector I work in. Because we work in different sectors, we have to understand the bigger aspect of the intellectual property rights, and the money, the fiat currency, the time, energy which goes into just getting a molecule out in the market. What happened with the COVID is not the question I want to answer right now, because I'll just concentrate how this movie Jurassic Park is a reminder to the folks who are in the, see, there are two kind of webs right now in the online web. We have a open web source, but there's a dark web which is really dark. I mean, there are companies who are capitalistic in nature and trying to push their products through these influencers. So what is really important right now to appreciate the fact that you have to go into the RI part. So coming back to the Jurassic World Rebirth, one is the DNA samples has to be open source. Open source means the open source models. Um, then um, so there's a lot of discussion on mutation and stuff. See, mutation is nothing but if you take any sequence, and let me tell you, I have worked on those sequences. I did my training in NCPGR. It's a plant genome institute in India, very well run by people, and somehow I have been at the intersection of everything. I don't know why, but anyhow, the intersection was a part of me was in JNU when the training was on, and then I went to the new building also where NCPGR was being worked on, and I worked on Catharanthus roseus, that is C roseus, and um, that particular botanical stuff. It is very widely used in India, and it has a lot of good properties. So a lot of good scientists have been working on it for a very long time, but the cost associated with this wet lab research is too high. I mean, liquid nitrogen is expensive. Then you have these any chemicals which are required for the PCR. PCR is basically polymerase chain reaction. The devices and everything, and even it has to have a conducive control environment to do the experiment, because most of the time when you are doing the PCR is supposed to be the pipetting and all. The pipetting, the precision has to be there, so the focus has to be there. If you can't have that focus, it's really difficult to work in the wet lab kind of a structure. And I understood when I did that I don't want to do this for rest of my life. Rather, I'll just use these codes and do something in the online world. And that's how I the transfer from the wet lab to the dry lab happened. Dry lab was also always part of me for the longest time, but my decision not to get into the wet lab research was like, then you're dependent on these professors and their signatures and blah blah blah. And I'm someone who doesn't like to be controlled in any way whatsoever, because for intellectual mind to work, you need to be in that positive zone. You need to be in that zone where you can create stuff. So definitely they are trying to, or section of society is trying to work on the heart sector. So when we talk about heart and everything, I mean, after the COVID situation, so much has happened. So definitely one should take the supplements, not the supplements for changing the mutations, but the supplements which makes your uh, body longevity better. Then, so even this word, the term biomaterial samples. So we use the word sampling a lot. I mean, the sampling is used for market research. You have primary market research, secondary, and tertiary. So these are the three types of research which is needed before you launch anything in the market, whether it's domestic or internationally. But in the online world, when you are actually launching, it can be reviewed from anywhere in the world. So that terminology where it states that that we do it online and this is not applicable in other countries, that doesn't work. If it is a .com domain, .com has weightage. If it is becoming .in, somehow or the other, the person was actually using or saw that .com stuff and took it for the whatever intention was. But the point of contention here is to understand the present day work of the patenting and the trademark, because now coms and everything and ins and whatnot ios and these stuff has come into picture. Now you can just make your own stuff. It's that easy. That also needs to be streamlined, and particularly the builders of the internet who have been pivotal in the building blocks should be rewarded, and the reward cannot be like 1% or 2%. The reward has to be much more because they need to have their ESOPs, and their game plan has to be incorporated into the internet. So the protocols itself are the surveillance is really good. We need that right now. So this particular movie talks about the patenting stuff and all, and it talks about. So I want to touch base on evergreening. As I said yesterday, I wanted to talk about it, evergreening, and I wanted to talk about the black box because from the pharmaceutical point of view, pharma safe. If I'll write this hashtag. Okay. Now the term black box has different meanings. It's nothing to do with the air flight. It's talking about the black box patenting of what was there part of the Indian protocol. So basically, it's a system which is not transparent and accessible to the user, but it is accessible to the people who are part of the protocol. That's how it should work. And this is basically software, hardware, source code, or design is kept confidential. When I say proprietary means whatever I'm coding is not known to the people, even if it is in the open source. See, somewhere or the other, you need to have that, you need to have that mask when you are coding in the online world. I mean, I have so many, GitHub links. There's few links which I did way back. Even, I've forgotten the IDs and the password. But sometimes I go back and see what I had did at that point of time. Because the point here is to get the white web working in the proper manner. The dark web has overcome the white web right now. That is very, very clear from the data set. And here, a lot of intellectual people from different strata of society are participating in the dark web. So the government and the international protocols have to take cognizance of it and stop that dark web as soon as possible. I don't know how, but the dark web is now overpowering the white web. So that has to be taken into account. And if I talk about the practice of evergreening, I remember there were questions regarding the evergreening part when I sat for the exam, because this whole dramatic stuff was happening somewhere between from 1990 till 2005, because the 2005 amendment makes sure that we need science people. Just imagine, without science background, how can even somebody understand what molecule is all about? It's very easy to say, carbon, hydrogen bond, single bond, double bond, triple bond. See, ninth and 10th level chemistry is not going to resolve the innovative way of working the protocols. So basically, we have this provision of section 3D of the Indian Patent Act. I'm of the opinion that, just scrap the Indian Patent Act 1970, because section 3 is anyhow not helping out the research part, because all these research, the biosimilars and everything, I worked on it quite a long time ago. It was for a Bangalore company. Again, they play on the money part. Everybody is building a blockchain. I know what chain they are building. These all 10,000. I hate these numbers now. Anything to do with, hundreds, tens. This is like something for me. It's like null and void. I'll rather just, say please add $2 up, or fiat currency $2 down, or just increase the USDT, or whatever the payment structure is, because the banking sector is broken. I mean, can you imagine why these guys are charging so much? $20 IDFC bank charge just for the invert remittance and all. So this is really appalling. Why should we give money to these mediators? And that's the reason the blockchain and the concept of the blockchain was came into existence, where it states peer to peer. We don't need a mediator to get things done. And then obviously smart contracts are there, but smart contracts being written so, I mean, um, this whole cyber sector has been ruined by these people who have been coding the code in a wrong way. And I'm totally against that. So that is my feedback to the IT people, to look into it and see what can be done. So we have this, if I have to go into the lawmaking of this, we have the Indian Patent Act 1970, and we have this Information Technology Act 2000. Again, all these amendments, whatever bills and everything are there, it's all about numbers. I mean, we have to think out of the box. All these numbers are not making any sense to anyone, at least not to me, because I know the coding process very well. I wrote those patents way back in 2007 till 2011. So I have spent those 4 years, 365 days. I have no clue how many hours have been logged on to the internet on these different government databases, just reviewing everything and anything. And that is the reason I'm able to procure the stuff very fast, in a very fast manner. And that was the reason I filed my own patent, which is a futuristic algorithm, and it's really working very well. Although it is a defensive publication, and that's how I want to keep it. So my stuff will never be, open source. It will always be proprietary, and it will be in perpetuity, because that's how I want to work this out. Thank you for watching out this video. If you have any questions, put your question in the comment box. I have to come online again and talk about um, location based GPS patenting, uh, patenting stuff for smart cities, because cities are not becoming smart, they're becoming dumb right now. Thank you for watching out the video. Have a great day ahead.